cream containers, each containing a different variety of mosquito, genetically engineered mosquito, and they're alive. And then they gave me a tank of carbon dioxide and a bucket of ice. And they said, do you need anything else? And I had no idea what these things were for. Apparently, the ice slows them down enough that you can use the CO2 to kind of knock them out. And at that point, all I could remember was you go to the museum, and they're all in little pins. So I asked them if they had any pins, which they gave me some. Thankfully, they had some on hand. And I spent the rest of the day really carefully trying to impale these mosquitoes on pins, which it turns out nobody does. That's not, you don't do, the mosquitoes are too tiny and fragile. You're supposed to cut a little sliver of paper and glue them with the tiniest drop of glue, and then you pin the paper. So already I was off to a great start. And then I was preparing for a talk just like a few months later. And I opened my precious collection of mosquitoes, and the pins are there and my labels are there, but the mosquitoes are gone. Almost all of them. I had 3 left. And I went, shit. Well, at the bottom of each pin, there are these tiny little specks of shit, of something, some kind of bug excrement. Presumably not the mosquitoes, which were dead. On the inside of the lid, I found this guy, and he's really tiny. And I put him under my microscope and photographed him and posted it to Facebook, because I was angry. I said, does anybody recognize this? And our scientific advisor, Lauren Allen, actually immediately did recognize it as dermestid beetle larvae. And I went, oh, right, that's what everyone at the Smithsonian was constantly on the lookout for, that these are the bugs that eat their collections. They're also the bugs that clean the flesh off the bones for their collections. So there's this wonderful love-hate relationship with the dermestid beetles. Turns out he wasn't dead, and so he kind of became this pet around the museum. We named him Ringo, and I even had a lot of dreams about him. He was bigger in the dreams. But eventually we gave him a catalog number when he did die and added him to the collection as sort of an honorary member. It's not really post-natural, but his entire diet, his whole life, was genetically modified mosquitoes, so that's got to count for something. Lastly, I think we should wrap it up and then we'll move to the next one. Okay, yeah, lastly, this taxidermied silky chicken is very proudly featured in our Pittsburgh museum. It's a bizarre variety of chicken where